If you have been watching my optimistic life, you probably know that I walk 10 kilometers pretty much every day. And 10 kilometers give you a lot of time to think. Sometimes productively, sometimes about absolute bullshit. And lately, during these walks, I keep thinking about dating because I am 31, I am single, I am gay, I am an immigrant. I've dated in India, I've dated in Canada, I have hooked up, I have fallen in love, I've had my heart broken, and somehow I am still asking, whatever happened to just dating? I used to think dating was difficult because I am gay. Then I thought maybe it was because I grew up in India. Then I moved to Canada, became much more open about my sexuality, met people from completely different backgrounds, and realized, oh, apparently everybody is struggling. So maybe this isn't a gay problem. Maybe it's a dating problem. Growing up in India in the 90s and early 2000s, being gay felt very different. There wasn't really anyone to talk to. The internet wasn't sitting in your pocket. Society had a pretty clear picture of what your life was supposed to look like. Boy meets girl, marriage, children, done. So, somewhere on the surface, I developed this idea that maybe love wasn't really meant for me. Sex, sure. Hookups, probably. But an actual relationship? I didn't know. Except deep down, I never completely believed that. I always had this stupid optimistic voice saying, if nature made me this way, surely somewhere there is somebody I can build a life with. So I started looking, and unfortunately, Grinder was involved. For a long time, Grinder was basically my dating pool, and I would eventually ask everyone, what are you looking for? Fun? Perfect. My brain categorized you immediately, fuckboy. No judgment. If I am horny, you are horny. We know why we are here. Fantastic. Then came friends with benefits. Although, in my experience, sometimes there wasn't a lot of friends involved, mainly benefits. And occasionally someone would say dating. But you would meet them and realize the date was basically an elaborate waiting room before sex. So I became very good at separating sex from emotion. If you only wanted my body, fine. What became complicated was when somebody made me feel something. When I was around 19 and living in Bombay, I met a guy from Bahrain. We went out, we spent time together, we were physical, we liked each other, and never really sat down and decided what are we. We just let it happen. Eventually, I was leaving Bombay and he asked me to move to Bahrain with him. I was 19. Moving countries for a relationship was slightly above my emotional pay grade, so I didn't, and it ended peacefully. That relationship taught me something I still believe. Not every relationship that ends has failed. Something can be real without being permanent. I wish all my lessons had been that gentle. They weren't. Later in Delhi, I met somebody organically. No app, no checklist. He wasn't even initially my type. We spent time together, we became comfortable, then emotionally involved, and eventually I fell in love. Then he cheated. I forgave him initially, but it happened again. I forgave him again, but eventually the relationship collapsed. Therapy afterwards made me realize that I had changed myself so much for that relationship that when he was gone, I couldn't completely remember who I had been before him. And that taught me something else. Compromise is part of love. Losing yourself isn't. I absolutely believe two people have to adapt to each other. But there's a difference between meeting somebody halfway and walking the entire distance yourself. Then I moved to Canada. Part of me genuinely thought dating would become easier here. I could be open. I didn't have to hide being gay. There was a bigger dating pool. Surely, this would be better. Then, one of the first guys I dated here told me he wasn't looking for anything serious. Fine, neither was I. We kept seeing each other, and after a little over a month, he told me he was developing feelings for me. So, we should stop. And I remember thinking, sorry, what? You are developing feelings for the person you are dating, and that's the problem? And over time, I started noticing versions of this everywhere. People want connection. People complain they are lonely. People say they want relationships. But when somebody actually stands in front of them and says, okay, let's give this a chance, suddenly cold feet. When did dating become scarier than sex? That's probably my biggest question about dating today. We will hook up, we will cuddle, we'll tell somebody about our childhood trauma, we complain about our ex, we'll become friends with benefits, we'll enter situationships, we'll invent 17 different labels. But apparently saying we are dating, that's terrifying. Dating isn't marriage. Dating isn't, congratulations, I have selected you as my life partner. Please sign here. Dating is, I like you, you like me. Let's spend some time together and see where this goes. Maybe it works. Maybe 3 dates later you realize absolutely fucking not. Fine, that's what dating is for. But I wonder whether we have become so afraid of choosing the wrong person that we have stopped giving anyone enough of a chance to discover whether they could be the right person. And before anybody attacks me, I am a hypocrite too, because I do it too. It's easy for me to say modern dating has become transactional, but I participate in it too. I've built a life, I've become independent. So when I meet somebody, I notice things. Are they stable? Are they ambitious? Can they communicate? Are we sexually compatible? Would our lives actually work together? I've met perfectly good people and thought, you are wonderful, but I don't know if I can build a life with you. So maybe everybody else hasn't become too selective. Maybe all of us have. Dating apps put hundreds of people in our hands, and somewhere in the back of our minds is maybe there's somebody better, hotter, more successful, more compatible, one more swipe away. And while we are searching for the perfect person, maybe we are overlooking perfectly imperfect people around us. And here's something else I have realized. I don't need somebody to save me. I actually love my life. I don't want a knight in shining armor. And I don't want to be somebody's damsel in distress. Sometimes I wonder whether even in queer relationships we recreate those old dynamics, masculine and feminine, top and bottom, provider and dependent, protector and protected. Do we actually want an equal partner? Or do some of us feel safer when somebody needs us? Because I don't want to need somebody. I want to choose somebody, and I want them to choose me. Choosing somebody doesn't mean making them your only priority. Life happens, job happens, family happens, people struggle. I have seen this with my own parents. Growing up, there were moments when I genuinely wondered whether they are even romantic. But whenever life became difficult, I noticed something. If my mother was worried, my father would come home and the problem won't disappear. But somehow, for her, it would become much lighter because she wasn't carrying it alone anymore. That's companionship to me. Not somebody who fixes my problems, somebody who walks through them with me. And that's why actions matter. If you are incredibly busy but still take 5 minutes to call me, I notice. If you make time when time is difficult to find, I notice. Eventually, words without actions become hollow. Don't spend 6 months telling me you care. Show me in 5 minutes. So, what am I actually looking for? After all these dates, hookups, relationships, and almost relationships, and all these kilometers spent overthinking this shit, what I want is incredibly ordinary. I want to come home after a long day, see somebody, and immediately feel happier because he's there. Maybe I cook, maybe he does. Maybe we order food, we hug, we talk, we cuddle. Maybe sometimes I need an hour alone because I've had a horrible day. Actually, give me my own bedroom. I can love you deeply and still occasionally need you to leave me the fuck alone. I don't want either of us to disappear into a relationship. I want two complete people who adapt, compromise, meet halfway, and build something in the middle. Maybe that's what home means to me. Not rescue, not dependency, companionship. And that's important because everything you've heard today is my experience. My mistakes, my contradictions, my definition of dating. Maybe you agree. Maybe you are thinking, no wonder this bitch is single. Also valid. But this is where the conversation changes. For the next 2 episodes of My Optimistic Life, I've created questionnaires. First, I am asking people who are still single, what are you actually looking for? What's stopping us from finding each other? And are all these supposed options preventing us from genuinely giving somebody a chance? Then I'm asking people who did find someone, what actually mattered? What didn't? What made them stop looking and choose one person? And after finding them, what made them keep choosing them? Because maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the singles are wrong. Maybe the married people are wrong. Probably everybody is a little bit wrong. And that's what I want to find out. For now, my own dating life has taught me one thing. You cannot control whether somebody chooses you. You cannot control whether somebody lasts. You cannot control another person's feelings. You can only control what you brought to it. Did you communicate? Did you care? Did you show up? Did you give it an honest chance? Because if you genuinely gave your 100% and it still didn't work, you don't have to spend the next 5 years asking, what if I had tried? You did. Sometimes that's enough. Maybe somewhere during one of these 10-kilometer walks, I'll eventually figure dating out. Although, at this rate, I'll probably hit my step goals first. This is My Optimistic Life, and this was my side of the story. Next time, I want to hear yours. Thank you.